Welcome to Isla Nublar, in my testing grounds save file. This is where I test out some ideas I have before implementing them in my parks, and it's where I tested out this idea to use the monorail tracks as an overhead building to create a kind of mall for our guests. In this video, I will be showing you how I create a structure like this, so hopefully you'll have some tips and tricks on how to recreate this if you want to implement it in your own parks. Since trying out this idea, I've actually built an entire park using this technique, and I think it turned out pretty cool, and I'm really enjoying how it looks, especially during the day-night cycle. I saw some people on Reddit post their parks that already incorporated this idea, so I think it's pretty cool that I contributed at least something to the community. But I've also seen people struggle with recreating something like this, and it is a little bit finicky to start with. So if you have any trouble with building something like this, or you just want to see how I do it, then you can watch this video and hopefully it helps you in some way. Let's get started on the building process. So over here we have our beautiful empty stretch of paradise that we are going to turn into a mall of all things. So what I like to do is start with a path guideline. So I'm just going to lay down a section of path, have it snap at the 90-degree angle so it's perfectly perpendicular. And this is going to help us place the pillars of our monorail track at the exact same place along the entire length or width, depending on how you want to see it, of our mall. So we're going to hop into guests and select the monorail station and then select the track. And what we're going to do is place it exactly at the edge of the path. And then let's pull it out a maximum length because that's the easiest. Now as you can see, all of these support pillars have disappeared because of the path that's underneath. So when we delete that, the pillars show up again. And for our mall, we want the outer pillars of our structure to still be showing. Otherwise it's just going to look like floating tracks, and that's not realistic. So we're going to continue from this side. Now as you can see, the pillar isn't where we initially placed it, which is right by the path. And that's just how the monorail system works, but with these automatic pillars that change depending on the terrain. So that takes some working around, but once you have it figured out, it's really easy. So what we're going to do now is the very boring bit, and that's first of all to get it as close to the path as possible again, and then also get it as close to the other monorail without it actually snapping into it. So we're going to pull back a little bit. I think this is as close as we can get it. So we're going to place it and pull it out maximum length. Now it's not entirely even, so I'm going to redo it. And that's what I mean with the boring bit. It really is boring. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Just trying to get as close as possible. That's the ticket. We're gonna stretch it out. And there, that's even now. So we're going to repeat this many, many times. I'll show you one more time. You know, you can be as perfectionist with this as you want to be. It really doesn't matter that much if they don't perfectly line up at the very end. But for the sake of my own OCD, I'll give it my best go. So I'm just going to repeat that a couple more times, and then I'll bring you back in again and show you how I continue with this mall. So as you can see, I finished my main structure of the mall. Right now it's just over a grassy area. It's even kept the trees in there. But what we're going to do, of course, is pave over it. So for starters, I'm going to run a wide path down the center to the very end. And this will be our main street within the mall. And we're going to place our first buildings on that. So let's go with a toy shop. And remember, we want to keep those outer pillars standing. So we have a toy shop. Let's do another path in between here. What else do we want? An arcade. That feels like it belongs in a mall. And then this little bit we're going to fill in with path. Again, leaving that outer support standing. And now for the other end, I think what we're going to do is first lay down a bit of path. Get a little bit closer. And then let's place a restaurant. You can obviously just place whatever building you want. I'm just winging it over here. So a restaurant, and let's do a bar attached to that. There, we have a bar. And then let's fill in this small gap with the path again. Now, unfortunately, to leave those pillars standing, you have to give them quite a bit of space. I don't think I can get any closer than that. We're just going to fill this in. And let's do the same on this end. It actually would have been prettier if I've kept a path here as well, because now I can't really place it anymore, I think. No, that's unfortunate. So yeah, it takes a little bit of forethought to make it absolutely perfect. But I think you get the point. This is how it's done. I start with a guideline of the path, so I can get my pillars all nicely lined up. Then I place the structure of the monorail, and I fill it in afterwards with the buildings. Now you can do a lot more with these basic principles that I've shown you here. This is just to give you the main idea of what I mean when I'm talking about a monorail mall. But you can implement this in a lot of different ways and really unleash your creativity on this. Now there's one more thing that I want to show you, and that is how to get the tracks closer together than they are here, so you can make a more tightly knit roof. Now you do have to make one compromise when you do that, but it can be worth it if you incorporate it in the design in the right way. So I'm just going to place down path again, and what I'm going to do is quickly recreate the bridge that I did in my Jurassic World, the mall. So get back to the monorail track. We're going to place our first one. Make sure the pillars are showing up on the side. It snaps parallel to the path, which is very helpful. Now normally, if you attach it at the same height or level over here, this is as close as you can get it. But we can get it a lot closer if we don't start from the same point, but start from the middle. So this is as close as we can get it. Now the compromise I talked about is that you can't get it to the to be perfectly lined up with the other one, because then it does that. It wants to snap, but obviously it can't because the monorail track doesn't work like that. So what you have to do is you have to pull it back just a little bit. But you can see how much closer you can get the tracks to each other when you do that. You can build an entire roof like that if you were to continue. Let's pull this one out a little bit so it's not in the way. Get it really close again. And then you can pull this one out as far as the first one. So you can see that that gets you a lot closer together, but you have this issue to deal with. And that's just something you have to figure out in your design. But what we're going to do now is build that bridge. And that's by starting on this side to so you can have both sides of the roof ready. Get it to the same length approximately. Now we have our outer pillars nicely lined up on the side. Let's get rid of that guy. So those look pretty even. And we're going to fill this in with more track. Get it as close as possible. There. Pull it out. Get that guy. This one out. This is actually kind of cool as well. But we just want one more right in the middle of this one. Let's hope it fits perfectly. There you go. Yeah, that looks to be in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it back like this. And then, you know, it's not as good as if they would be perfectly aligned, but it looks kind of interesting, this this V shape that they have to them. So we're going to pull that one out further. And then you have a mirror V shape over there. And then you're going to continue with the path. Get under here. You can end your bridge wherever you want, but I'm just going to delete those pillars. And that's how you do that. And as you can see, it looks pretty cool. I hope these tips help you build structures like this in your own parks and mix things up a little bit. I hope this video helps you, and yeah, have fun building. Let's get the most out of this game together. Thanks for watching, and until next time, enjoy the game.